Hello everybody and welcome back to Space Engine. Where we left off, I was at this moon. I'm gonna say moon. I'm not actually sure where we are. We're around some random star. But that's always good, I suppose. Random stars are always good. Now, would it be a moon or would it be a planet? I'd say moon because it's orbiting a planet. However, there's a fellow who wants to change the definition to a planet to mean anything that's big and spherical. Basically, anything that's big enough to pull itself into a sphere would be a planet, which would mean Pluto would be a planet again, but it also mean the moon would be a planet, and it's kind of weird. I actually contacted him last week, and we talked about it, and I actually have an idea for a classification system. Anyways, it was quite interesting, because I'm the kind of person that when I'm interested in something, I'll actually go to those who are talking about it and talk to them. Alright then, let's look at what I need to go to. It looks like the only... yeah, it looks like the only locale we have is... Nope. Control V. God damn it. I only have one recommendation on my last video. That's kind of sad. Control V. NGC 4889. And he wants me to go to the black hole in the center, which is absolutely massive. And it is. Because massive black holes are the best kind of black holes. Let's be very careful about this. Even though it probably won't look much different in Space Engine, it's still fun to imagine. Oh. Or I guess not. Alright. That should be it right there, I would assume. Come on. I'm looking for a black hole. Oh, guys, we found it. Look at that. Look at that accretion disk. Ain't that pretty? And that distortion. It's lovely. But remember, guys, this is a representation. It's not real. I actually say that because while I was getting ready for this video, I saw another video in the sidebar about some guy talking about how the TRAPPIST-1 star system is fake. And I was like, alright, I'll bite. And basically what it was is the guy was talking about how it's all fake because the pictures that NASA showed were clearly just CGI and they weren't real. And I was like, yeah? Did anyone say they were real? No, nobody said they were real. The pictures of the planets we see, like those infographics, yeah, those are called representations. As in, they're not real. They were made in a computer to show what something might look like that we can't actually see. But apparently this person was able to make like a 20-minute video about how representations prove that something isn't real because they're CGI when literally nobody has said otherwise. Like, nobody, no official source. NASA did not release pictures and say, look, we photographed these planets. No. They said they were discovered using various indirect methods, but here are artistic representations of what they might look like. Of course, looking at the guy's channel, he also had videos talking about flat Earth, so it's like, oh, okay. Understandable, mentally ill person again, which is very unfortunate. He has like 40,000 subscribers, which is pretty great. It's actually pretty, or over 40, I forgot the exact number, but it's actually pretty respectable. And, like, his videos, I've looked at a few of them. The information is all wrong, and really simplistic, and it's very, like, painful to watch because it's really, really dumb. But you know, you can tell a lot of effort's put into making the videos, so I'll give him that. I just thought it was kind of amusing But actually, well, the fact people make crazy videos isn't that amusing. So there's this other guy who believes the moon is a hologram, and he makes videos about it, and it's really, really, really funny, because the only evidence that the moon is a hologram is this distortion he calls the lunar wave, where if you look through only one of his cameras, not all of them, only one of his cameras, you see this weird line move across the moon, but it only works with one of his cameras and not the other ones. And this is really funny because he's basically based this entire conspiracy because he doesn't understand how cameras work, and that actually that line he sees is actually just like the scan cycle in the camera, because cameras scan either top, bottom, or side to side. But you know, it's much easier to believe a bullshit conspiracy. The Milky Way does exist. It's easier to believe a bullshit conspiracy than to actually take the time to learn about the most basic understandings of how a camera works. Oh well. Most of those conspiracies I don't really like. They're annoying, but they don't hurt anybody. It's like people who believe the Earth is flat. Alright, they're dumb. Maybe not dumb, but they're gullible, and the ones who really push the idea of some global conspiracy generally suffer from a paranoid delusion disorder. So it's like, but they generally don't hurt anybody. They're fine. I won't really get mad at them. I'll just make fun of them. It's the people who do conspiracies that really hurt people that are the problems. Let's go to random star while I'm talking. I think my biggest pet peeve is the B-17 bullshit idea. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically, there are people out there who believe that cancer can be cured by something called vitamin B-17. And it's really unfortunate because B-17 isn't real. It's not a vitamin anyways. Because it's an extract from peach pits, is what it is. And they say this vitamin can cure cancer, and it's been shown in labs to kill cancer. But what it actually is it's just something called amygdalin, which is a compound found in peach pits, apple seeds, usually like parts of some fruit you don't want to eat. And what it does is when it gets into the body, it breaks down into cyanide and kills you. But that doesn't matter to these people. They believe that cyanide can cure cancer, although they don't actually know it's cyanide because, again, they're dumb. But they do say there's evidence that it cures cancer because a lab shows that it cures cancer. And they're partially right. There have been some lab tests that show that amygdalin does kill cancer cells. It also kills healthy cells at the same rate, but it does technically kill cancer cells because it's cyanide. It's like saying if you stab someone who, I guess somebody has a tumor on their side, and you stab it with a red-hot poker, it'll kill cancer cells. It'll also cause massive damage to them, but it will technically kill cancer cells. So you can say using a red-hot pitchfork is a cancer cure. But that logic doesn't make any sense. So the logic about B-17 makes the same level of sense. Because cyanide will kill cancer cells doesn't mean it's a cancer cure. It means it kills cells because it's a fucking poison. One of the biggest offenders of this, I find, is that newspaper, quote-unquote tabloid, called Nature News that Google actually blacklisted for a while, but then brought back. You know, they really should blacklist them again because they're dangerous. But also, our good friend Kent Hovind, he's that young Earth creationist who was in jail for 10 years for tax fraud. Check this out. But he's back, and he sells B-17 tablets to cure cancer. But it's just a money scam. It's like, literally, they're selling poison to people to make money. Oh, look at that. Abiogenetic and organic. Which, you think about it, that should be illegal. Like, okay, you know that, like, I'm sure some of you have seen them. There's like these infographics that get posted on stupid websites like usually 4chan and sometimes Twitter and Reddit, where it's like how to grow cool crystals in your house, and it makes this, you know, has like a picture of these really cool looking crystals and then a list of things you need and then the instructions. But what it actually does is when you mix them together, it creates chlorine gas and kills whoever tries to do it. And sometimes these are posted and people get really upset because people have actually been seriously hurt because of this. So, and rightfully so, people are upset about that, rightfully so. But then you have people, you have people selling amygdalin capsules, and nobody gets mad at them when they're literally giving things to people that contain cyanide. So it's basically like giving people like cyanide capsules and saying it cures cancer. So you're basically making money off desperate sick people, which is just appalling, really. Information. We got organic, unicellular, marine, and it is local. Lovely. And no, I talk about conspiracies a lot, but I kind of use this channel, or this series anyway. It's kind of a podcast where I just talk about random shit, usually on topic, sometimes not. And this one, I just feel like being off topic because it's really annoying. It's like, I don't mind, well, I do kind of mind misinformation, but usually if it's just like, some bullshit conspiracy that hurts nobody, like the flat earth idea, or, I guess, NASA, some kind of government conspiracy, like all of those ones, they don't hurt anybody. People can believe that all they want. The moon is a hologram. Hurts nobody. They can believe all they want. Although that guy does blame the Jews for a lot of things, and that can hurt people. Seriously, when you start bringing anti-Semitism into your conspiracy, it gets dangerous. But anyways, like, I don't care about those, but the ones that hurt people, yeah, I'm not on board with those ones. My cat opened my door. I wish he wouldn't do that. Or people who, well, I guess that's religious, so it's hard to get into it, but the people who believe that don't go get medical help, because God will help you, those people are also, that's not a conspiracy, that's just a really unfortunate religious belief that causes death. Actually, a friend of my family's, when we lived in the US years and years ago, they had 2 children who both died of, I think, meningitis. It could have been cured easily with like antibiotics. I think it was like bacterial, I think, or was it viral? I forget which one it was, but either way, it could have been dealt with. But the church that we were in at the time said, no, don't do that. It's against God's plan to do that. They went, all right, and then both their kids died from an easily dealt illness because apparently the church knows better than doctors. I think they actually got prosecuted for that. It happens every now and then. People will do that. Like, it happens, unfortunately, a lot. It's not reported a whole lot. It's like, oh, they died because of this, when in fact they actually killed their child by not taking it to medical treatment. But that just means their family line dies off and they don't get to breed. It's so unfortunate. People shouldn't let their religious or really mentally ill minds hurt children or other people. I'm just saying, it's like, I have my own thoughts on things, but I don't ever push ideas that would hurt people. But then again, I've actually been accused of being a government-paid propaganda thing. I don't know, I've been called a lot of things, but I've been accused of working for the Canadian government, the American government, the UN, I would love to work for the UN, the Chinese government once, the Russian government, and then the New World Order. I've been accused of everything, and it's really funny because like I would enjoy those jobs. Or like people talk about, like, especially in the U.S., talk about like paid trolls, whatever, people who like are paid to like talk shit about Trump. It's like, oh, paid protesters, that's what it is. And it's like, hell, I'd love that. Where do I sign up for that? Because I currently protest and stuff without getting paid. I don't actually protest Trump because I'm not in the U.S., but I do. Well, the best I do is I just like post funny pictures to his Twitter every now and then because I know he doesn't read them. I do something to Smash Mouth, but it's funny. This planet looks really pretty. Physical. My throat's getting hoarse. I think I've had like a cold or something these last few days. It's been really annoying. Oh, actually, I have tea next to me. Anyways, I think I'll stop complaining about conspiracy theories because you guys probably hear that a lot from me and it gets really irritating. I don't know what else to talk about. SpaceX wants to go to the moon. Did I talk about that last time? I don't know if I did. But SpaceX wants to go to the moon. That's always fun. Actually, about that whole thing, I love the idea of most people wanting to go to the moon. Like that's all well and good. However, I was really disappointed because their moon plans have kind of thrown their Mars plans, kind of delayed them a bit. Because originally they were planning on launching the Red Dragon to Mars in 2018, but now they have to wait till 2020, And I was like, oh well. At least Insight's going to Mars next year. I'm looking forward to that, because Insight was supposed to go last launch window in 2016, but one of their instruments wasn't functioning properly, and they had to just delay it so they could spend 2 years to make sure it was fixed. So perfectly understandable. I'm okay with that. But I always love a good Mars landing. But speaking of that, I was thinking about Inspiration Mars, which was another private funded thing where this fellow wanted to send 2 people on a mission launched in 2018 to fly out to Mars and back, like 100. Oh, there's like a 500-day mission. That's what it was, where it's like you fly out and do a free return from Earth to Mars to back to Earth. And it was supposed to launch in 2018 during that launch window, because it would have been the best time for such a mission. But then it kind of fell out of obscurity the last couple years, and now it's just, I think it's dead. Which I'm very disappointed in, because I was actually kind of hoping that one went somewhere, because that would have been fun. Because like, they weren't landing on Mars or anything, so you don't have to worry about bat contamination on that one, just go. Yeah, of course, there's dangers to the crew, but honestly, if it's a volunteer crew, as long as all the risks, like they understand the risks, they should be allowed to do it. Like say, like it's like with Mars 1, it's like a lot of people who applied to that knew, yeah, they'd probably die, but whatever, it was their risks to take, and it's like, alright, cool. Now, if you lied to them, and they go without knowing the risks, that's wrong. But, hey, if they know the risks, and they understand the risks, and they want to take the risks, they should be allowed to. As long as those risks only affect them, and, like, you know, they're not accepting the damages for other people. So, like, if somebody volunteers to go to Mars, that risk assessment should only affect them, and not other people. So it's like, you know, if they choose to go to Mars, they're not deciding for, like, other people, kind of thing. I'm not making any sense. I'm sorry, I'm just talking. Actually, speaking of Mars, there's a new movie coming out called Life, which it's about, it looks kind of like The Thing, mixed with Alien, mixed with Gravity, mixed with the worst fears of Ike Hesmer realized. If you're wondering, Ike Hesmer, I think it's like Ike Hesmer or whatever. It's like the international group. It's basically it's an organization online that's against Mars sample returns for the time being due to biological risks. I actually talked to them too recently. Interesting people. But basically, this movie, what it looks like is a sample return is brought from Mars, and they capture it on the space station. And as they're studying it, they find a life form, and then in normal life form science fiction general, it decide to start killing everybody, and then they're on the space station with this alien Martian life form trying to kill them. It looks pretty generic, but I'm actually looking forward to it, because I appreciate a good science fiction horror. And just shake things up a bit. Also because it's not a reboot, remake, or sequel to anything. It's basically just, it's just a story. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Mars. I like Mars, you know? It's an interesting planet. I'm still more a fan of the moon Titan. That's just because from an organic chemistry standpoint, it's far more interesting. Or Europa and Enceladus. I actually like Enceladus because it has confirmed sub-ice ocean, but also its water has been confirmed to contain carbon compounds. After Cassini flew through a plume and was able to sample it. It's wonderful. Let's look around. We're looking at 19 minutes? Alright. Most of this video is going to be me rambling on about dumb conspiracy theories, and then a little bit about a movie, followed by Mars. I like Mars. I just like Venus, but not much can be done with Venus. Although Venus may have been very Earth-like in its early days. Unfortunately, it took a very depressing turn, and, you know, became the planet we all know and love. That frame rate dropping. There we go, fixed it. Well, look at you. It's kind of monochromatic, isn't it? Info! It's a hot oceania, biogenic, marine, organic. What's the atmosphere looking like? Mostly carbon dioxide, a little bit of oxygen, and a little bit of nitrogen. Oop, and other stuff. water, sulfur dioxide, argon, helium, and neon. Wonderful. And that's 20 minutes. Alright, I'll leave it off there. Next video, I'll actually be more on point with, like, actual science talk and more on, you know, on topic. But I just like talking about random bullshit that happens, so thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back with more stuff later, and space.